The initial strike, the earth was burning. The sky had turned dark with thick smoke, and the once vibrant cities now lay in ruins. The ground shook as explosions ripped through the streets. Sirens screamed in every corner of the planet, but it was too late. The invaders had struck with precision, leaving little time for Earth's defenses to react. The war had begun, and humanity was caught off guard. Captain Alex stood on a broken rooftop in the heart of New York City, staring at the chaos below. His heart pounded in his chest as he watched buildings crumble and firestorms spread across the city. It felt like a nightmare, one he couldn't wake up from. He clenched his fists, feeling the weight of the moment. The destruction was unimaginable, and yet it was only the beginning. Alex wasn't the only one watching. His small team of soldiers stood behind him, their faces a mix of shock and disbelief. They had trained for this. They had prepared for every possible scenario. But nothing had prepared them for this overwhelming scale of destruction. "What now, Captain?" one of the soldiers, Sarah, asked. Her voice trembled as she stared at the sky, where alien ships hovered ominously. These ships were unlike anything the humans had ever seen. Sleek, black, and deadly, they glided through the sky with ease, their weapons powerful enough to turn entire cities into ashes. Alex's eyes narrowed. "Now we fight back," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "This isn't over, not yet." The invaders had made one mistake. They underestimated the resilience of humanity. Alex could feel it in his bones. This wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. The aliens might have taken Earth's cities, but they hadn't taken the human spirit, and that spirit would fight back with everything it had. Alex turned and began to walk toward the makeshift command center they had set up in the ruins of a nearby building. He had to regroup to figure out their next move. Time was running out. The invaders were fast, relentless, and seemingly unstoppable. But humanity had something they didn't, an unbreakable will to survive. As Alex entered the command center, the room fell silent. The soldiers gathered around him, waiting for orders. He could feel their eyes on him, the weight of their expectations. They were looking to him for guidance, for a plan. But right now, all he had was his anger and a growing sense of urgency. "We need to get to the underground base," Alex said. "It's our best chance. We've got to get to the command center before they do. If we can reach it, we might be able to turn the tide." The soldiers nodded, their faces grim. They all knew the risks, but there was no choice. It was either fight or die. As they moved out, Alex glanced back at the city one last time. He could feel the eyes of the world on him, the hopes of billions, of people depending on him and his team. He couldn't let them down. They had already lost too much. They made their way through the destroyed streets, dodging explosions and the sounds of gunfire. The aliens had already landed their forces on the ground, and skirmishes were breaking out everywhere. Alex's team moved quickly, using the cover of broken buildings and alleyways to avoid being seen. Every step was a risk, but they had no choice. The underground base was their last hope. As they approached the entrance to the base, they heard voices, a strange alien language that sent shivers down their spines. Alex motioned for his team to stay low. The last thing they needed was to get caught in the open. They made it inside, the thick steel doors slamming shut behind them. Inside the base, it was cold and sterile. The walls were lined with technology that had been abandoned for years, but Alex didn't care about that right now. They had made it. They were safe for the moment. But as Alex looked around, something didn't feel right. He could sense it in the air, a strange tension, like the calm before the storm. The invaders were out there, hunting them down. It was only a matter of time before they found this place. As the team set up a temporary command center, Alex's thoughts turned to the mysterious alien ships. What were they after? Why had they come to Earth? And why had they attacked so ruthlessly? "We'll need to figure out what they're after," Alex said, his voice low. "We need answers. The longer we wait, the stronger they'll get." A loud bang echoed through the base, causing the walls to shake. Alex jumped to his feet, his heart racing. The aliens had found them. The fight was about to get much worse. "Get to the weapons locker," he ordered now. The soldiers rushed to the back of the base, grabbing whatever weapons they could find. But it was clear that they were outmatched. The alien weapons were unlike anything they had ever seen, and the humans had only their basic firearms and makeshift weapons to defend themselves. As the soldiers armed themselves, Alex's mind raced. The clock was ticking, and they had no time to waste. The aliens were relentless, and every second that passed brought them closer to complete destruction. But even as fear gripped his heart, Alex knew one thing for sure. They weren't giving up. They would fight back, and they would fight to the bitter end. The loud noise grew louder, echoing through the hallways. The aliens were coming. The war for Earth had begun, and humanity's response would be unlike anything the invaders had ever imagined. "Ready yourselves," Alex said, gripping his weapon tightly. "The battle has only just begun." The doors to the base slammed open, and the first wave of invaders poured in. It was time to show them that humanity would not be easily defeated. The counterattack to the dust hadn't even settled in the base. When the doors slammed shut, Alex's team rushed to position themselves behind the walls, trying to make sense of their surroundings in the dim light. The air inside the underground base was cold, but the real chill came from the fear in the air. The invaders were close, too close. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by the unmistakable sound of footsteps. The soldiers froze. These weren't just any footsteps, they were deliberate, heavy, and calculated. The aliens had found their hideout, and they weren't just looking to fight. They had come to finish what they started. "Stay quiet," Alex whispered, his voice barely audible over the pounding of his own heartbeat. "We need to hold them off long enough to find a way to strike back. We can't let them see us just yet." The tension was unbearable. The team held their breath, eyes scanning the corridors as the footsteps grew closer. Every soldier knew what was at stake. This wasn't just about survival. It was about sending a message. Humanity wasn't going to be wiped out without a fight. And then, without warning, the alien forces charged. They were fast-moving with a precision that only comes from years of military dominance. Their armor gleamed in the dim light, a strange, iridescent black that seemed to absorb the very light around them. They were more than soldiers. They were hunters. But Alex's team was ready. They opened fire. The sharp crack of gunshots echoed through the halls. The aliens, caught off guard by the human resistance, staggered back. But they quickly regrouped. Their armor absorbed the bullets, and they retaliated with deadly precision, shooting beams of blue light from their advanced weapons. "Take cover," Alex shouted, pulling a soldier to the side as a beam passed just inches from his head. The soldiers moved fast, ducking behind crates and steel beams, firing whenever they had a clear shot. The humans were vastly outgunned, but they were far from outmatched. They had something the aliens didn't: courage and determination. The soldiers fought with a ferocity born from the deep desire to protect their home. Alex knew they couldn't win this battle with force alone. They had to think smarter, not harder. "We need to split up," he said, his voice full of urgency. "Some of you go to the control room and try to access the systems. We need to find a way to fight back. The rest of us will hold them off." Sarah, one of the soldiers, nodded. "We'll cover you. Get to the systems, Captain." Alex gave her a quick glance, his eyes filled with a mix of determination and regret. "Be careful. If they catch you, we may never get a chance to regroup." With that, the soldiers split up, taking their positions. Alex led a small group of soldiers down a narrow hallway, weaving in and out of cover. The air was thick with the smell of burning metal and the heavy scent of fear. Every corner they turned, another alien appeared. They shot with deadly accuracy, but the humans fought back with an intensity that surprised them. Alex's heart raced as he led his team deeper into the base. Every time they came across an alien, they fought with all their might, but their resources were limited. He needed to get to the control room. They needed to find a way to fight back, in a way the aliens never saw coming. Meanwhile, Sarah and the other soldiers made their way to the control room. The door was locked, but Sarah wasted no time. She grabbed a small device from her belt, pressing it against the door's control panel. It sparked to life, and with a satisfying hiss, the door slid open. They entered quickly, weapons at the ready. The control room was dark, but there was a soft hum coming from the systems. Sarah moved toward the main console, typing furiously. The screen flickered to life, displaying a series of alien symbols. "We don't have time to figure this out manually," Sarah muttered. "I'll hack into their systems, but it's going to take a few minutes. Just cover me." The others spread out, keeping their eyes on every entrance. The tension was palpable. They could hear the aliens getting closer, but Sarah was determined. She worked quickly, her fingers dancing over the keys as she tried to make sense of the alien technology. Outside the control room, Alex's team continued to fight. They were pushing back, but it was clear the aliens were beginning to adapt to their tactics. The battle was starting to feel like a losing fight, but Alex refused to give up. He kept his focus on the mission. "Hold the line, people," Alex shouted, as he fired his weapon at an approaching alien soldier. "We can't let them reach the control room. Not now." The aliens were relentless, but so were the humans. The two sides clashed in an explosion of light, energy, and noise. Every shot fired carried with it the weight of humanity's survival. Then, just when Alex thought they couldn't hold out any longer, Sarah's voice came through on the comms. "I've got access to their systems. I'm sending a virus to disable their weapons. It'll give us a chance." Alex's eyes lit up. This was it. The tide of the battle could shift in their favor. "Do it," Alex commanded. "We've only got one shot at this." Sarah's fingers flew over the keys, her heart pounding in her chest. The alien systems were complex, but she was close. The moment of truth was upon them. If she succeeded, it could turn the battle. If she failed, they would lose everything. Then, with a final keystroke, the screen flashed green. The virus was in the aliens' weapon systems began to malfunction, causing them to stumble. Their once accurate shots, now erratic. "Now's our chance," Alex shouted. "Push forward." The humans surged forward with renewed strength, their confidence growing. They pushed the aliens back, step by step, until the hallway was clear. But the battle wasn't over. Not yet. With their weapons down, Alex and his team pressed forward. The control room was within reach. The next step was simple: find a way to strike the aliens where it would hurt the most. But even as they advanced, Alex knew one thing for certain. This wasn't just a fight for survival. It was a fight for the future. And humanity's fight had only just begun. The battle for Earth, the moment of victory, was fleeting. As soon as the humans pushed forward, they encountered a new threat. The aliens had anticipated their move. They had already started adapting. Their weapon systems were down, but the alien soldiers were not. Now they fought hand to hand, with brutal precision, using claws and energy blades that cut through armor like paper. Alex led his team into the heart of the aliens' command center. The walls were lined with strange alien technology, and the room hummed with an eerie energy. His team moved silently, weapons drawn, their eyes darting round, scanning for threats. Every step felt like it could be their last. The air was thick with tension, and the only sound was the soft click of boots on the metallic floor. But as they reached the heart of the alien facility, it became clear they weren't alone. The ground rumbled beneath them, and the walls began to shake. The soldiers exchanged worried glances. Then, the doors to the control room slammed open with a deafening crash. A towering alien figure stepped into the room. It was unlike anything Alex had seen before. This alien was much larger than the others, its body encased in dark, sleek armor that seemed to pulse with a strange energy. It carried a massive weapon, long jagged spear that crackled with power, the alien's glowing eyes locked onto Alex, and a chilling voice echoed in the room. "You dare resist us, humans. You will all fall before the might of the Anno Empire." The air grew thick with an almost tangible sense of danger. This was no ordinary soldier. This was a leader, a commander, a being whose mere presence made the hairs on the back of Alex's neck stand up. "We've already seen your might," Alex shot back, raising his weapon. "And it's not enough to stop us." Without another word, the alien charged. Its spear moved faster than Alex thought possible, and it crashed against his shield with a sound like thunder. The force of the blow sent Alex stumbling back, but he quickly regained his footing. His soldiers opened fire, but the alien's armor absorbed the shots without so much as a flinch. The battle was now in full swing. The humans fought valiantly, using every ounce of their training to fight back against the superior alien forces. But this wasn't just a physical battle. It was a test of wills, of resolve. The humans fought for their homes, for their families, for the future of their world. "Captain, we need a plan," Sarah shouted over the noise of the fight, firing at the alien soldiers. Alex's mind raced as he parried a blow from the alien commander's spear. The alien was too strong, too fast. But Alex had something the commander didn't: the heart of humanity. "Keep fighting," Alex shouted, dodging another strike. "We need to disable their energy core. It's the only way we can stop them from reinforcing their forces." "I'll take care of the commander, just get to the core." Sarah nodded and led the team to a nearby control panel. They had to reach the core before it was too late. Meanwhile, Alex focused on the alien commander, who towered over him. The creature's eyes were filled with disdain, but there was a flicker of something else, an unfamiliar emotion. Fear, perhaps. Did the aliens fear humanity? Alex's thoughts were interrupted as the commander swung its spear once more. This time, Alex ducked under the blow and rushed forward, tackling the alien to the ground. The fight was brutal, with Alex struggling to get a clean shot at the commander's weak spot, its exposed chest. But the alien was fast. It threw Alex off, sending him sprawling across the room. His vision blurred, but he fought through the pain, scrambling to his feet. He had to keep going. "Captain," Sarah called out from across the room, "we're almost there. The core is just ahead." Alex didn't hesitate. He charged at the commander, firing his weapon as he ran. The shots bounced off the alien's armor, but it distracted the creature just long enough. Alex slammed into the commander, knocking it back once more. This time, Alex didn't stop. He reached down and grabbed a combat knife from his belt. With a quick, desperate motion, he jammed a knife into the alien's exposed chest. The commander roared in pain, but Alex didn't let up. He twisted the knife, reaching for the creature's vital organs. With a final, guttural cry, the alien commander collapsed, its body going limp in Alex's arms. "Alex, we've done it," Sarah shouted, her voice filled with relief. "The core is down." Alex took a step back, breathing heavily, his body covered in sweat and blood. The alien commander was defeated, but the battle wasn't over. They still had to deal with the rest of the invaders. But now, with the core disabled, the tide was turning. The alien forces were disorganized. Their communication systems were down, and most importantly, they were losing their advantage. "We've got one shot at this," Alex said, looking at his team. "We push forward, we finish what we started, we fight for Earth." The soldiers nodded, their faces set with determination. The mission wasn't over, but they were no longer outmatched. Humanity had taken the first steps toward victory. The aliens had learned the hard way humans weren't just a threat to be wiped out. They were a force that could rise from the ashes, stronger than before. The final battle was coming, and this time, humanity was ready. The final blow. The atmosphere in the base was thick with the scent of smoke and destruction. The battle had raged for hours, and the air was heavy with exhaustion. But there was no time for rest. Alex knew that if they didn't strike now, Earth would be lost. The alien forces were regrouping, pulling back to a secondary location, perhaps to reorganize or call for reinforcements. But their time was running out. The core had been disabled, but that was only a temporary measure. The alien commander was dead, but their presence on Earth was still very much alive. Alex and his team had been fighting long enough to know the next steps would be the hardest. They had no more tricks up their sleeves, no more surprises. Now, it was just humanity against an overwhelming enemy. They had one final chance to turn the tide. "Captain, the alien forces are retreating," Sarah said, her voice shaky over the "comes," but they're not gone yet. They're consolidating their power in a hidden facility. If we don't stop them now, they'll be backhand, they'll be stronger. Alex's grip tightened on his weapon as he looked around the dark metallic corridors of the alien base. The lights flickered, casting long, ominous shadows along the walls. His team was battered and bruised, but their resolve had only hardened. This was their moment. There would be no second chances. "We go after them," Alex said, his voice as steady as ever, though his mind was racing. "We hit them hard, right where it hurts. If we take out their last remaining stronghold, they'll have no way of coming back." The team moved swiftly, navigating the labyrinthine halls of the alien base, knowing that every second counted. The retreating forces had left behind a trail of wreckage and abandoned technology. But it was clear that this facility was more than just a simple outpost. It was the heart of their operation, the place where their power was concentrated. Alex's mind raced through the plan. He had one last weapon at his disposal: humanity's ingenuity. They might have been outgunned, but they had brains, determination, and the will to fight. They had one advantage: the aliens couldn't match their unpredictability. "Stay sharp," Alex said, as they approached a set of heavy doors. "We don't know what we're walking into. This could be the final showdown." The doors slid open with a low hum, and they entered a vast chamber. It was unlike anything Alex had ever seen, high, tech, yet alien. The walls shimmered with an eerie glow, and the center of the room contained a massive, pulsating core. It was like a heart's beating, with an unnatural rhythm, emitting a low hum that vibrated through the floor beneath their boots. "This is it," Sarah whispered, her eyes wide as she gazed at the core. "If we destroy this, we take out their power completely." Alex nodded. "Get to the control panel, now." As Sarah moved toward the panel, Alex scanned the room. Something didn't feel right. There was no movement, no sound, only the hum of the core. It was too quiet, and then it hit him. "Trap," Alex muttered, just as the doors slammed shut behind them with a deafening crash. The team immediately moved into defensive positions, weapons drawn, but it was already too late. The walls of the room shifted, and from hidden compartments, more alien soldiers emerged this time, not just ordinary troops, but massive, hulking warriors, towering over the humans with thick, reinforced armor and powerful energy weapons. "We're surrounded," one of the soldiers said, panic creeping into his voice. Alex's heart raced, but his face remained calm. There was no time for fear. There was only one option left: fight through them, he ordered. "We take out their power source, no matter what." The team opened fire, but it quickly became clear that these new aliens were different. Their weapons were more advanced, their movements faster. The humans were outmatched, but not outwilled. Alex could see it in their eyes. They wouldn't go down without a fight. Alex led the charge, his team following close behind. Bullets flew, beams of energy crackled through the air, and explosions echoed through the chamber. Every movement felt like a desperate gamble. They fought with every ounce of strength they had, knowing that the fate of the planet rested on their shoulders. But despite their best efforts, the aliens were closing in. One by one, Alex's team was being pushed back. Sarah, still working on the control panel, was the only one making any progress. Alex couldn't afford to let her fail. He fought his way to the front, cutting through alien warriors with a combination of brutal strength and sheer will. The clash of metal and the sound of alien shrieks filled the room, but Alex's focus never wavered. "Sarah," Alex shouted, his voice filled with urgency. "How much longer?" "Almost there." Sarah called back, her voice tight with concentration. "Just a few more seconds." The alien warriors pressed harder, but Alex and the others held their ground. They were beginning to tire, their bodies covered in bruises and cuts, but they refused to stop. Every shot fired, every alien that fell, brought them one step closer to their goal. "Now," Sarah screamed, just as the control panel flared to life. The core emitted a deafening sound, followed by a blinding flash of light. The alien soldiers froze for a split second, just long enough for the humans to make their final push. Alex took advantage of the moment, charging forward and delivering a final, decisive blow to the last of the alien warriors. The room shook as the core overloaded. Sparks flew from the control panels, and the alien technology began to collapse in on itself. The power source was no more. Alex's team stood, breathless, covered in sweat and blood, but victorious. They had done it. They had defeated the invaders. We did it, Sarah whispered, her voice shaking. Alex looked around at his team, their faces grim but proud. We did, and we saved Earth. The battle for Earth was over, but the war was far from finished. Humanity had proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, they would never give up. They had fought back, and in the end, they had won. But this was just the beginning. The universe was vast, and who knew what other threats lay beyond the stars? But as Alex looked at his team, he knew one thing for sure: they would face whatever came next together.